My name is Varsha Rai and I have the honor of being your host for today's event. Today, we gather to explore a subject of immense significance: digital transformation using AI, redefining the future of business. Artificial intelligence is not just a tool, it is the driving force behind innovation and efficiency, reshaping industries and enhancing the human experience. This conclave brings together exceptional minds to share their expertise and insights, sparking conversations that will inspire all of us. To officially commence today's proceedings, it is my privilege to invite Dr. Shailesh Kumar, Chief Data Scientist at the Center of Excellence in AI/ML at Reliance Jio, to deliver the opening address. Dr. Kumar is a visionary leader in artificial intelligence with over 20 international publications, more than 20 patents, and contributions to leading organizations like Google and Ola. He has been recognized as one of India's top data scientists and continues to shape the future of AI and data science through groundbreaking work. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Shailesh Kumar to set the context.
Thank you, and welcome to all of you for this conclave. I think, first of all, a Happy New Year to all my students. This is the first offline Happy New Year. And I want to, thank and welcome all our speakers. Mohit is joining us online, and, some of those speakers are here. So this is our first conclave on this topic, and obviously we all understand the importance of AI today. But before I get into the conclave, just a quick background for our visitors on the whole Jio Institute vision. So, 3-4 years ago, Mr. Ambani and Neeta Ambani ma'am, they had this idea that, they have contributed to India and the world in many different ways. And education is one of their great passions. Neeta ma'am is a teacher by profession herself, and we run a lot of schools and all of that. And we wanted to open a world-class institute in India, something that can become like a Stanford of India someday, right? And, one of the biggest loss of exchequer to Indian economy is not weapons or oil, but it is education. A lot of our students go out every year, and obviously the fees are what they are, and we spend a lot of foreign exchange on education. And because we don't have world-class education systems, especially in higher education in India. So with that vision, we started Jio Institute so that someday we could attract and keep all that talent here, bring a lot of world-class faculties to India, and have them teach. Why send, millions of students when you can bring hundreds of faculty, right? And that model should work out very nicely. And, we've already got some very good faculty now. We are doing a lot of great research in many areas, including genomics, biomics, computer vision, and material sciences and all of that. We've started with this is the third year of the institute. We have 3 programs going on. AI and data science program. Then we have the management program and the sports management program. And sports management, as you know, is not yet a very important business in India. It's a very big business in Europe and US if you look at the kind of money that is spent on sports. And sports has started picking up. Only IPL is the major sport, but all of that. And we need a lot of talent in that also, right? The business of sports also. And then next year we may start a program on fintech and all of that. So every year we are planning to start one more key program that is very relevant to the time and all of that. Yeah. So obviously you'll get a tour of the institute and enjoy and all of that. So so this conclave, just wanted to share a few thoughts. So the idea is that I work with a lot of industries, including Reliance ecosystem, a lot of governments. Yesterday I was meeting Chandrababu Naidu in the AP. They want to do something. Telangana state wants to do something in Telangana. Everybody is opening an AI city and AI something and AI something, right? All the time. And there's a lot of excitement, especially in the last few years, about AIification of all industries and all countries, if you will, right? And this journey is not obvious, right? We are all trying to figure this out as we go along. It's like a startup. AI is like a startup in the mindset. We're trying to figure out how to do this better and better. There is no blueprint. Here is the procedure to AI-fy a country or a company. And we are all struggling with that. And, as new technologies come up every week, there is FOMO on one side, right? Are we doing it or not? There is a financial burden on one side. Is it worth doing it? What is the ROI of it? There is a talent aspect to AI, which is, are we ready? Do we have enough talent in the country to do it? And are we ready technologically, right? In our digital transformation journey, are we ready for doing AI or not? And when are we ready to do it? Is it too early, too late? So there's a lot of confusion in AIification journeys right now. And we hope to play a role in that, helping, with our experience of what we have done in Reliance and other places, what our leaders are going to talk about today. We are all going to kind of learn about this journey, the confusion of it, the promise of it, the challenges of it, and hopefully we'll get one more level of clarity on how to get this better. And we have very nice esteemed panelists. We have Mohit from Tech Mahindra. He's leading the digital transformation at Tech Mahindra CTO role. And obviously, Tech Mahindra is into many businesses and all that. Then we have Mukesh, who is leading the digital transformation at Hinduja Group, right? So these are two leaders from two conglomerates, right? Like I am doing it for Reliance, they are doing it for their conglomerates. So they are going to bring in that kind of a perspective on how not just to think about one vertical, but all the verticals that they are dealing with, what is common, what is different, and what are their journeys so far and all of that. Then we have two people from the consulting organizations, right? Siddhartha and Mahesh from PwC and CGI, and they will talk about what they are seeing from their point of view across industries, right? What is going on? So they bring the consulting mindset to this, and hopefully, with that balance, we will have a very good discussion. And hopefully, you all will learn. Obviously, you've learned a lot during your internships, and this is another kind of learning that we'll have with our practitioners in the field, leaders in these areas, what they bring and all that. Yeah. So enjoy the conference, ask a lot of questions. We'll have a lot of opportunity, right? And we'll give a prize for the best question. Huh? No, I'm just making this up. Yeah. All right. Thank you and welcome again. And we'll start with our conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar, for that warm welcome and for highlighting the vision of Jio Institute in fostering innovation and collaboration. Your expertise and vision have provided a perfect foundation for the conversations that we are about to embark on. It is now time for a special address from Mr. Mohit Kapoor, Group Chief Technology Officer at Mahindra & Mahindra, who will be joining us virtually. Mr. Kapoor has over 30 years of experience in global technology and operation and currently leads Mahindra Group's ambitious digital transformation agenda. His visionary leadership has transformed customer experiences and created new business models through the adoption of cutting-edge technologies. We are truly privileged to have Mr. Kapoor share his thoughts with us. Let's welcome Mr. Kapoor with a huge round of applause.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks, Shailesh, for setting the stage so well. All the best for the future of Jio Institute. Looking forward to closely partnering with you all. I think what I've done today is put together 20 or 30 slides, which I'll go through very fast so that we can have some time towards the end, towards QA. I know we have around 20 minutes for the discussion. I have put together industry use cases so that they are more exemplary in terms of how the students and the interns can think of operationalizing them, and they are not just theoretical, they are actually practical use cases we have implemented already in the Mahindra Group. Since we're based in India, the Mahindra Group by itself may not need too much of introduction. We are a top SUV maker, including electric vehicles, which we launched last week. A top tractor maker in the world. We also make trucks and buses. Then we are a large finance company with Mahindra Finance, and Tech Mahindra is the IT services company, which we already have, again, a top 5 company. And then there are 6 to 8 businesses which are growing very fast, aligned to the growing demographics in India and the stable democracy, which is around logistics, real estate, holidays, used cars, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, defense and aerospace, etc. Across all these businesses, few things are changing. The customer expectation is a lot more digital. You see how you and I order grocery online or hail a cab or make payments, and hence the expectations and acceptance of the customer for digital interaction has gone up many folds, and hence digital transformation, which is just kind of a back-end digitization, has a new meaning altogether. It includes hyper-personalization, it includes knowing the customer, it includes engaging the customer, it includes making the journey very simple for the customer. So focusing on customer journey is very important, and we've been focusing a lot on that. Similarly, data and AI has always been a requirement, whether it's driverless cars or safer cars or precision agriculture for farmers to have more crop value from their land, or it's on-time logistics or sustainable housing or inclusive finance. In all our businesses, data and AI was always a play, but with Gen AI, new opportunities have opened up. I'm going to talk a bit about that. Cloud is almost a given now, and hence the time to market, the agility, and the velocity is a lot faster. In old days, even 10 years ago, it took 6 months, 8 months to write an app. Now you can do it in 2 days, host it on the cloud, and get live. And hence the whole MVP approach has changed dramatically, and A/B testing and many other things. Data privacy now has a new meaning. All of us, consider our personal data private. We consider our medical data private, and rightfully so. The government of India has formed the Data Privacy Act, and it's going to get implemented very soon. And hence, as practitioners, we need to focus on that. And then, last but not the least, it is all based on talent, represented by you all in the room today, and the culture we build in the company. So that's why this time is very ripe and now to be there. But it's very important to be bound by purpose. So at the Mahindra Group, we talk a lot about purpose. Purpose for us is to make an impact to the communities and our customers and our employees and their lives, and focus a lot on sustainability and inclusion, and couple that with technology and innovation, and then automatically impact will follow. So we're very focused on that, and everything we do goes through these filters. Every year, we scan the horizon on promising technologies which will change the game for us and will change the game for the world. And of course, no points for guessing. In Gen AI is the number one position. AI and Gen AI will change things dramatically, is already changing things. AR and VR, we have done some work there, and I'm sure you all can imagine that'll change as well. As the cost of wearables become less, AR, VR will get opened up in a much bigger fashion. Machine learning is almost a given in everything we do, including Google Maps, to guide you to the right place in the right time. With 5G connectivity, data and connectivity, especially thanks to you all and Jio, has become almost a given, that there is no dark spots. Everyone is fully connected. A digital twin is a great manifestation of what you can build and do, even without building it and doing it. And hence, a lot of testing and hypothesis is tested upfront. Robotics is again a big deal for us, and identity and data privacy. That again is an important topic. So with this background, what can we do and what have we done? So if you look at the Mahindra example, I have some examples from various businesses. The automobile, which is normally the Thar, the Scorpio, the Bolero, the 3XO, the electrics which have come now, the 400 and the new electrics, EV9 and EV6. They all have 3 realms as such. One is the making of the car, which is where manufacturing, smart manufacturing, IoT data, lots of supply chain, AI-driven supply chain. That's very important, and that's the big unlock there. Similarly, then there's the buying experience, which is where some bit of the AR, VR comes in as well, and to hyper-personalize everyone's experience of buying a car. And then the connected car, which itself transmits so much data to the cloud, and how can you then help the customer for a safer, more adventurous, more thrilling ride, as well as efficiency of owning the car. So that's kind of the landscape, and looking at some experiments at scale, which we've done well in the making of the car. One specific one is around paint shops. As you can imagine, cars are, new cars are shiny and, have a luster and a shining coat of paint, and that's done carefully through many coats of paint and lots of time in the oven to bake the paint as well. And this example is around finding defects in the paint. As you can imagine, in the pre-AI era, which was just 2 years ago or 3 years ago, if you had to deliver a freshly painted car and fully done up car, you had to look at the car's surface, at the top, on the bonnet, on the backside, on the side panels, if there's any discoloration patches or any scratches. And that task being done for 50,000 cars every month, you can then imagine how huge can it be in terms of the effort. And this is now replaced by AI, where there is a camera-based tunnel, where there are 80 cameras in the tunnel, and the cars are just passing through the tunnel. And each of these 80 cameras are taking high-definition photographs. The models running, almost like deep learning models, which are able to then look at where is the scratch, where is the discoloration patch, where is the aberration, and hence all the painful task of human beings doing that and still not being able to do 100% can easily be done. And hence the defect accuracy of this has already gone to 95%, and the models are getting trained better and better with new car models which have different kind of surfaces. So each time there's a new model, you train the model for a new shade or new kind of surface, but it's very, very scalable idea. So I thought I'd make that point, that computer vision is a big unlock for industries. 5 years ago, 8 years ago, your computer could not distinguish between a cat or a dog. You have to write 20,000 lines of code. And now you can see on your phone, it groups your friends' pictures together. It automatically reads, the background, and all of it is possible. And hence, the industry use case of what cameras can see and do are enormous. And this is an easy one I've taken, but solves a big problem for us. Similarly, I was talking about manifestation of digital twin. So we were to put our electric line a year ago in Pune, in Chakan. And even before we put up the line, how do we optimize the layout? Where should the paint shop be? Where should the motor shop be? Where should the battery shop be? Where should the assembly shop be? Where should the battery making shop be? In terms of in the layout of the factory for the most optimal working, right? And for the best assembly line efficiency. So you could design all that and do all the modeling on that and only get to ground and then build that model. This factory is now live. There's a lot of social media chatter already in the factory, lots of videos. I encourage you all to Google it and then look it up. And that's where we're making electric cars. It got launched last week. So again, an example of digital twin. On welding, as you can imagine, metal objects like cars, they have smooth welding. As you can imagine, the side panel of the car is welded to the top hat of the car, and that the joint has to be smooth and strong. So how do we know that the welding robots are actually making smooth and strong welds? And this is done by developing chemistry and physics models, which are between electrodes, what is the resistance, and based on that, you can judge if the weld spot is solid or not. If not, then you can tell the robot to do it again. And this, you can imagine, is happening 24/7 with around 1,000 robots doing the welding across the assembly line. So again, it's based on computer vision or physics model, actually not computer vision in this case, physics model, but machine learning models. Similarly, switching gears to AR and VR, which is the second part on the tech radar I showed you. A lot of experiments and actual launches within the AR. So if you look at how cars are launched, normally what you do is you need to send test cars to different showrooms, and then in the city of where you are, the potential buyer is, you want a test car to come to your place, or you go to the showroom and drive the test car and get convinced. This takes a lot of time because you need to make 1,000 cars at least and send them to showrooms. Can you launch a car even before the 1,000 cars are not ready? So we said, okay, on 26 January last year, we launched our first electric vehicle called 400, and even before the first 1,000 cars are launched and available to send for testing, we launched the car in the metaverse, and around 100,000 people explored the car and raced the car on the streets and left their telephone number to say, I love it. As soon as you have the test car available, just call me. And then 4,000 of those 100,000 people actually ended up buying the X400. And this we are now doing in a repeated way. Similarly, when you're selling cars, can you have a Amazon kind feel where you can actually configure your car, put it in the cart, and then check it out later. So again, we run those features with Scorpio. When we were putting a Scorpio sale last year, we knew it's going to be a blockbuster success, and hence how do you do it at scale? And owing to that, we were able to sell over 100,000 Scorpios. And the Thar Rocks, which happened 2 months ago, we were able to sell around 1.7 lakh Thar Rocks in 1 hour because of this model, where you are trying to reimagine customer experience from what e-commerce may have done already and is not a universal way in automobile selling. So lots of inspiration has to come from outside of your industry many times, and that's what makes this high innovation in nature. Similarly, we also do used cars with a brand called Car and Bike, where the same computer vision actually judges the value of the car by looking at scratches. So we ask the customer to say, why don't you upload high quality photographs using your phone of your car, and we'll be able to give you a spot offer. So if you have a Swift Desire which you want to dispose of to upgrade to a Hyundai Creta or something else, and you're trying to sell it to Car and Bike, they'll be able to give you a very attractive spot offer, because computer vision is able to judge what is the paintwork, scratches, body, health of the tire, health of the battery, health of the engine, the state of the interiors of the car, and based on that, develop the best value and develop a trust score on that value. Similarly, connected tractors is my favorite topic. India is an agrarian economy, and there are 55-60% of the population still lives in villages and make the food we eat. And to drive food sufficiency and to help the farmer get the best output from their land, telematics has a big role to play. Telematics is about connected tractors. So Mahindra is a large tractor manufacturer with 2 brands, Mahindra and Swaraj, and all our tractors are now connected to the cloud. And with that, we are able to help the farmers get more from their land by putting together satellite data, weather data, crop data, soil data, irrigation data, subsidy data, fertilizer data, and and what the mandi will offer for their crop, and also cropping advice in the two crop cycles normally. In India, there are 2 crop cycles, and how do you help the farmer do that? And also have a farmer app in Hindi or even a local language for that matter, where they can track their tractor and use the tractor for a lot of IoT-based innovation. Similarly, satellite data is a big unlock for farmers in Maharashtra, where using satellite data, we are able to advise the sugarcane farmers in Maharashtra, which is a large sugarcane producing state, on when to harvest the crop. And this is based on sugar and fructose model, on correlating it to how the satellite sees the crop from that height. And the green here shows the ripeliness, and more ripe the sugarcane is, more value they will get from the mandi when they sell this sugarcane. So this is also again a great example on using on satellite vision, connecting it to glucose and fructose content in the sugarcane, testing it and training the model so that it's able to give advice, and the farmers actually gaining 15-20% more from the same yield compared to last year when they were not using this model, right? So actually benefiting the farmer by using data science. Also, autonomy in tractors also a big deal. Unlike the West, where the driver has to be eliminated, the autonomy in India is more about automation and intelligence. You can tell the farmer how deep to put their plow, where to put the seed, how to make a smooth turn, so that we're not trying to eliminate the driver, we're trying to educate the driver in real time, so that the driver can still have hands on the wheel, eyes on the field, but are able to do all this task in a perfect fashion, which leads to better efficiency of fuel, increase of yield from the land, because if you have haphazard farming track, then the land yield become worse, and ease of operation. Similarly, on real estate, we also have Mahindra Real Estate. How do you launch an apartment complex in the metaverse so that you can imagine your apartment from the 20th floor. Similarly, for using AI models for solar energy generation. So we try to put all these use cases together, and we're calling this mission centrally, similar to what Shailesh may have done a year ago or a few years ago in Jio. And the central mission, we call it Mahindra AI, where the whole idea is to supercharge the businesses and build and monetize AI value within the verticals and the horizontal, and attract top talent to come work with us, whether they are in technology companies as partnerships, or startups, or even students for that matter, and drive this mission ahead, working closely with the business with a focus on, of course, data privacy and data security. Lots of time on using Mahindra data itself to deliver the outcomes, and then, of course, minimize wrong solutions. There are numerous other examples on the shop floor in terms of using generative AI, and these use cases of generative AI, while other use cases so far were classical AI. These are generative AIs. How can I help the shop floor engineer on this generative AI tool, which we call as why sheet, saying why did this happen? Why did the motor slow down? Why did the pump trip? Why was this error code given? So you can ask any of the query, and then it tells you exactly what to do. And if you do it well, then downtime of motors go down. Similarly, for our workshops, we service 1 lakh cars every month as a service. Every customer wants a car to be fully serviced and returned back. So how do you help the workshop engineers? And this is we rolled out in the workshop with all engineers having this, where if they see a peculiar problem, they are able to get a result from the Gen AI. And all this is trained using Mahindra data. You don't need to go and look at the internet on how to solve a Mahindra car issue. Mahindra people know it. But the service center engineer at that time doesn't have easy access to ask somebody. Rather than trying to call the product people back in Chennai or Chakan or Bombay, and they just ask, this tech assist and get the answers. Similarly, on servicing of cars, how to change a light bulb. Simple things, right? The cars are getting more complex with more wires. How do you do it in multilingual languages? Can I train every engineer on the field, a service center engineer on the field, in their own language on how to change the light bulb or anything else would matter? Similarly, on vehicle, right? All vehicles have a manual inside. This we've rolled out already, where the 400 to 500 page manual is now already replaced in your app. So if you already have a Mahindra vehicle, you have the Mahindra for You app, and in that app, you already have a GPT where you can ask that GPT instance all the question about your car to say how to start the rear wiper, or how much air to fill into the tires, how much coolant, when should I change the coolant, how often should I service, anything which is normally in the manual and even not in the manual. All that is there in the GPT. So changing the customer experience and making it simpler, equipping our tractor dealers with a lot of competitive data about our tractors and other tractors, looking at multimodal ways for sales and marketing, content generation, and review of marketing content. So similarly, I think many other use cases have been rolled out, and we are able to get lots of results. We also have now invested in foundational model, where we figured out there's a gap between Indian languages and languages interpret in Indian languages. So a Google Gemini model may actually reason in English but interpret in Hindi. So how can I have a language model for vernacular? So this our company Tech Mahindra is doing it for 27 versions of Hindi, like Haryanvi or Rajasthani, or think of all the versions of Hindi and the dialects of Hindi. And how do you develop a base model? It's called Indus. So in the end, that's my last slide. In the end, I think the focus for all practitioners like you all, or would-be practitioners like you all, should be on explainability of AI, ethics of AI, responsibility of AI, surely on fairness, so that you're able to not discriminate, or you don't discriminate, and then of course on security and privacy, where the data you use to drive outcomes, whether it's internal or customer facing, have to be respecting the privacy of the customer and their data. So with that, I'll pause. I think I've finished my 20 minutes. I don't know, Shailesh, if you have any QA time and I can answer it. Otherwise, I'll let Mukesh answer all the QAs after this on my behalf. I'm sure between you and Shailesh and Mukesh can very well cover it all. But I'm open to any questions you may have.
Do we have any questions? Yes. So we have one.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Anurag Sahu. So I want to ask you a question. Like till now, we have discussed about computer vision. It's used for detection and identifying. Later on, we talk about Gen AI. It generates something. Now the AI part is heading towards agentic AI. So what are your perspectives on that?
So agentic is the way to go, and it automatically closes the cognitive gap between how human beings operate, right? So if I have a query and Shailesh has the answer, normally I call him and he will get me the answer, and then he will call Mukesh, and then so within the company, that's how we operate. And hence, if you want digital horizontal transformation, then multi-agent model has to be thought through. So one which comes to my mind, which we have rolled out already, is on sales and marketing and hyper personalization. So Thar and Thar Rocks is our leading brand. We have easily anything between 50,000 to 100,000 emails and inquiries about that model on a monthly basis. And how do I answer your inquiries and queries in the most hyper personalized manner, so that it's not a generic reply to say thank you very much and I'll get back to you, but it actually addresses what you're asking, to say, is there a stepney in the car? Can I get it in? Is the Thar available in blue color? When will you have a 4-wheel drive? Can the petrol be 4-wheel drive? Many questions. How do I get the right answer and the best answer based on the question you're asking and who you are and your experience on the test drive? So it's a multi-agentic view. There is a user agent which reads all the test drive reviews. Then there is a segmenter agent which segments high propensity customers from just the people who do test drive but don't necessarily buy. Then there is a composer agent which composes the answer. Then there is a reviewer agent which reviews what I'm wanting to send. Then there is an orchestrator agent which decides when to send, who to send to, and which channel to use. These 5 agents normally these 5 different divisions of 5 different human beings in the old way, and we would have taken 4 weeks or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to reply back pointedly on your questions as a enthusiast or somebody you want to buy Thar, but now it can be done in 1 day. All these 5 agents are trained on Mahindra data. They do very well on their own, so the reviewer knows perfectly how to figure out what intonation to use, what brand language to use. And the segmenter knows exactly how to figure out who is a high propensity buyer. The user agent knows exactly how to figure out who has a positive sentiment and a better disposition to buy. And all these agents train by themselves, but they work together. So agentic is the way to go. We're starting off with sales and marketing as our first agentic play, but in car servicing and vehicle repair and delivery, showroom, etc. Many of those areas we're going as well. But I think you're on the right way, and please spend some time understanding it better and come with your own use case and try it out. But agentic is the way to go. Absolutely.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? Yeah, please.
You can talk from there.
Hi Mohit sir, actually I have a question. You mentioned about telematics highlights, which is in that we have all tractors connected to the cloud, which gives various data points for and information about lands and crops. And you also mentioned that we have farmer app. How is this two different from each other?
So telematics is a generic term for connected vehicles.
Yep.
So, and the use case can be many. So I drive a 700, which is a leading Mahindra vehicle. It's connected to the cloud, and the intelligence on board is able to make the drive safer. So car brakes if it detects an object. It gives me lane assist. It detects if I'm drowsy. Those are also telematic use cases because the data is going to the cloud, and the edge intelligence and the cloud intelligence is able to decide and anticipate collision and make my drive safer. And touch wood, I've been driving three years in this vehicle, and it works very well. That's a simpler use case of telematics with the edge computing. And the one I was talking about is using telematics data, mixing it with satellite data, soil data, weather data, irrigation data, fertilizer data, and then making an app, which is a super app for the farmer, where the telematics data of his tractor or her tractor, coupled with all the other data insights, is helping the farmer get more yield from their land. So they are different topics. Telematics is only one part of the connected automobile and the intelligence you generate from the automobile. But you intersperse that with more data. Like my XUV intersperses my telematics field with what the camera is seeing. In the XUV, there is a camera on the front and a camera on the back, and many sensors around the car. The camera is seeing, let's say, the cow on the road or a three-wheeler slowing down, and I have not seen it. The car brakes automatically. So the feed is going to telematics, but the camera is seeing. So you have to mix all those together to derive results. So telematics is only one part of it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohit. And
address and for sharing your invaluable insights into the role of AI in digital transformation. Your words will resonate with us as we navigate today's discussion. Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn to the centerpiece of today's conclave, a panel discussion on the theme Digital Transformation Using AI. To moderate this session, I am delighted to invite Dr. Shailesh Kumar to the stage. Dr. Shailesh Kumar, welcome and thank you for giving this. Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Now, let me introduce our distinguished panelists who bring a wealth of experiences and knowledge to this discussion. First up, we have Mr. Mukesh Rathi, a Global Chief Data Digital Officer at Hinduja Group with over 25 years of experience driving digital transformation across industries. Mr. Rathi's expertise in digital strategy and innovation has brought measurable impact to global business. Next up, we have Mr. Mahesh Parab, partner at PwC India, with over 20 years of experience in digital transformation and intelligent process automation. Mr. Parab's pioneering work in emerging technologies has helped organizations leverage automation and cognitive solutions. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Siddhartha Ghosh, Director of Consulting Services at CGI, with 18 years of experience in business intelligence and ERP solutions. Mr. Ghosh's innovative approach has consistently driven growth and efficiency across complex organizational environments. Please join me again in welcoming our esteemed panelists to the stage. I now hand over the session to Dr. Kumar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, great. This is what. All right. So, thank you all for joining us, and I'm sure our students are going to benefit a lot from this discussion. So, like I said, they are all stalwarts in their own way. They're leading digital transformation within the group and across companies and across sectors. So, we were just discussing what are the themes of the thing we want to talk about. So, the first thing that we want to talk about is sort of the AI digital transformation strategy and approach. So how are we approaching it as a philosophy, as a culture, as a mindset, and as a platform, right? So if you want to talk about, what is your strategy for digital transformation? What are we learning? What are we learning from our leaders, from the bottom, from everybody else in the ecosystem? And how are you, driving that digital transformation? What is the approach and mindset that is driving it? We can just.
Thank you for inviting me to this beautiful institute. Amazing view, and I think I came here for the first time. I'm sure all the students here are benefiting of this very nice institute and amazing faculty. Very brief introduction. I work with Hinduja Group, conglomerate of about 15 plus companies. 4 primary sectors into mobility, financial services, IT, ITES, and also renewable energy now. I think I'm sort of with the group for about 18 months. And after I came in, one of the first questions I grappled with something similar to what Dr. Shailesh is asking, as to how do you go about creating a overall digital transformation strategy and roadmap, right? And also, before this, I've sort of spent about a decade in a pharma company where we not only defined a strategy, brought a lot of it to life. Many beautiful examples Mohit shared before me. Very similar, I think, in nature, many of them. I think the starting point of any sort of digital transformation journey is always understanding the business context and the domain. Every business has a specific domain need and a corresponding value chain. And that value chain, actually, one needs to start by where does the maximum value get created depending on the nature of the business. So in a pharma company, max value gets unlocked when you reduce the product development cycle time. In a steel company, maximum value gets unlocked when you reduce the cost of production. In an automobile company, maximum value gets unlocked on 2 aspects. One is how faster you can bring new variants to the market, and second, how best we can service them once they are out there in the market, right? So likewise, there are different priorities depending on the domain and the industry. Digital transformation success is best achieved when we focus on that highest priority, right? And just to sort of share some examples, in pharma R&D, by applying various possibilities of what you could do at each stage of development cycle, we were able to reduce product development cycle time by almost 35%. So a drug which used to take about 24 months, we were able to started doing that in about 14 months. And sort of we can talk in a little bit more detail if time permits, right? Likewise, in automobile, I think Mohit talked a lot about telematics. Actually, effectively using telematics, and Ashok Leyland is one of our group companies which manufactures trucks. And once the trucks are out there in the market, when somebody has invested 50 lakhs in buying a truck, the most important aspect for the buyer is the uptime of the truck. Because every time the truck is down, you lose money, right? And how do you use a combination of telematics plus various other data points to do predictive analytics to constantly nudge a truck owner around what he could do to increase the uptime? And every hour, every day of increase in uptime is additional revenue for our customers, right? And that increases customer satisfaction. That brings back customers, back to us. I think there was a question around agents. One of our group company is Hinduja Global Solutions, which is a erstwhile BPO company. Now they do end-to-end customer service work. They have recently created their own agent, what they call as Agent X. And because they're in the business of telecalling, they are in the business of customer service. The evolution of Agent X, actually, I've seen it over the last almost more than a year now. Wherein initially it was an aid to telecallers. So it would give you a customer 360. It will do a online mood indicator. Whether this customer is happy, unhappy, the history of the customer. Now this agent is able to directly talk to the customer in the language of choice, depending on the mood, change the tone, right? And also depending on certain rules, etc., which I have set up, give him offers or otherwise decline, depending on what is most suitable. Right? So that's the future. That's the future direction in which going. And because of the nature of business, they are the most important investment is this, because they are in the business of providing better customer service. Right? That's what HGS do. So that's the number one and probably the most important aspect to look off when we create a transformation journey. Yeah, I'll let my other panelists add to it.
Yeah. So we as a PwC, obviously we are a consultant. So if you really look at a digital transformation as a theme, so some of the customer may go there as a FOMO, correct? I mean, others are doing, so I want to do it. But when someone like us come into the picture, we typically guide them with respect to basically the principle of values. What values you really want to achieve? At end of the day, everyone, every business want to run it for a profit. And if you really look at a profit, the two important value comes onto the table is the cost and revenue. So along with that, if you heard Mohit, he was talking about experience. So typically, if you really want to start digital transformation program, be with AI, without AI, values has to be mapped, which is obviously the cost, revenue, and experience. Is my digital transformation program going to cut down the cost with help of AI or any other automation tech into the business? Will that directly uplift my revenue? Indirectly, directly, in a sense. And obviously, when you actually do this, am I really enhancing the experience? So if you really solve these three value equations dot together, definitely you'll go to that. That is a primarily a guidance to our customers when we start digital transformation. While doing that, we always keep three parameters or the three important pillars of digital transformation. One is people, process, and technology. And obviously you can cut that into a various angle to it, but primarily look at those KPIs, which are cost, revenue, and experience, and map it to the three pillars, which is people, process, and technology.
Yeah, and I sort of completely agree with both the gentlemen here. Digital transformation, as we have seen, generally is a multi-year journey. So on one side where there is FOMO, on the other side there is also the fear of, okay, am I going to invest so much of money? What return am I going to get? By when am I going to get this return? And we have to understand one thing, that not all companies are run by founders. So in most cases, the companies are run by professionals who may or may not always have a long-term view, right? So, I am a professional in a company. My performance appraisals happen every year. So I need to make sure that I am making intelligent investment so that after I make the investment, I can show the return to my shareholders within a short duration of time, right? So again, coming from CGI as consultants, one of our primary job is to make sure that we balance between the two. We help our clients figure out what is the staging, what is it that you are going to do first, so that you are tackling your low hanging fruits, you are able to generate support across the enterprise, so that you can take the next big step. So our value that we bring in is to show the steps in progressive manner to our clients.
Very nice. Yeah. So thank you for that. When I was growing up only as a technologist, I didn't understand this aspect of the whole strategy and business aspect of the technology. So as engineers and technologists, we lose sight of the why. And yesterday in the summit at AP, everybody was talking about the grand vision, right? Like by 2047, we have to become the developed country and all that. Our economy should reach $30 trillion. So at the top, we start with a grand vision, right? We have an end goal in mind. And now people like them have to translate that vision into a strategy. How are we going to achieve that, right? And all of them talked about the value, the impact, the cost. Those kind of equations come into play. So strategy thinking, which is one of the topics that we study in management also. How do we come up with a strategy for the vision, right? So vision drives strategy. And then the third comes strategy to sort of a platform, right? And say what kind of technology platform we need, operations platform we need to manifest the strategy on the ground. And then comes technology at the bottom, right? So sometimes we think technology first, but it all, is connected, and hopefully you got a sense of how everything works together, right? Thank you for that. And I want to now dive into specific use cases. Mukesh has given some examples, but if you can give me specific transformations you have been able to achieve, especially with either AI, blockchain, all these deep tech technologies, specific examples. So the aha moment for you, for the business, for the people who created it, came and said, oh, look, we have converted this value from here to here, right? Change this metric from here to here because of technology, because of AI. So if you can talk a little bit about some of those success stories and use cases. Yeah.
Sure. So maybe just 2 or 3 examples I'll take. Maybe one from R&D from my previous organization when I spoke about this reduction of product development cycle time. So the way we went about doing it is we broke this 24 months into specific tasks which we achieve, right? So first 2 months, scientists spend time doing research, right, to figure out what's the molecule all about, what potential ingredients would make it up, what does it work with, when is it stable, what condition you need to keep in, etc., etc. After 2 months, the scientists come up with a hypothesis that this is what it looks like would make sense, and hence now let's start testing on it. Now this 2 months of effort is essentially document research. And this, while we sort of talk a lot about Gen AI, I think this is something we achieved like about 2.5 years back. Essentially, what you need to do is go out and read all possible available data and documents out there in the internet, summarize that in a smart fashion using, of course, the right algorithm, and then have that starting equation. What does it take? We were able to successfully reduce this 2-month time to 2 hours. Wow. So we had a starting equation for the scientist. You enter the molecule, you have a starting equation with, of course, all the logic, etc. Because one of the problems with AI is it has to be explainable. Otherwise, people don't believe, because after that there will be investment on that, to start testing it and then do whatever. Maybe I'll take another example from another area, manufacturing. And this is something we're sort of trying to do in Ashok Leyland as well right now. Industry 4.0 is a big thing, right? And what typically happens in manufacturing is there are a lot of small pockets of value. It's not one single place where you can, find value. So there could be, value in quality. There could be value in the way you manufacture. There could be value in the way you mix things, etc. So just to sort of again take two examples. One is, I think Mohit spoke about an example of a digital twin. How do you do more effective scheduling? When your material moves from one place to another, just by applying a good algorithm. I mean, one can almost, we were able to show almost a reduction of 10 to 15%. In the total time it takes from the point the vehicle enters the plant to the point it goes out, right? Another example, probably from my previous organization, an example of how do you create a right mix. So when you make pharmaceutical products, essentially you have to work within a range of certain process parameters, right? So some raw material comes in, that comes with certain, let's say, specifications, right? And depending on those specifications, you need to sometime tune your processing parameters to get the right yield. Traditionally, it has been dependent on the experience on the operator. He will figure out what it is and what parameters I will change, and somehow I will get the yield. In the process, some wastage will happen in the beginning and we'll get a suboptimal output. So we created an algorithm where on the basis of the parameters which of the raw material, it will automatically recommend what process parameters to run it. And then you get a right output. We were able to increase yield by about 4.5%, just by creating this. So likewise, maybe a third example I could take from sales and marketing side. Again, from my previous company. So medical representatives, go and meet doctors to detail products. So we had we were visiting about 5 lakh doctors in the country, right? And about 8,000 medical representatives, who go and do that. And if you know the life of a medical representative, he gets about 1 to 1.5 minutes with the doctor. And in that 1.5 minutes, he will try to detail about 4 to 5 brands, right? And over a period of time, what we've learned is doctors will typically remember the first 2 or 3. They forget the 4th and the 5th. And eventually, the output of the medical representative productivity is a function of how many prescriptions the doctor writes. We were able to create a hyper-personalized algorithm with a combination of the doctor's mindset, the medical representative's ability, potential prescriptions in that area, and a combination of all of this, we would dynamically change the sequence in which he will present the brands. When the medical representative goes to a doctor, he will see a different sequence every time he sees a different doctor. And that in turn, we were able to almost increase sales by about 2 to 3% just by that one algorithm, right? So likewise, I think the reason I sort of took examples from different areas is there are opportunities everywhere, right? And eventually it is about organization effort. Of course, you need data to do it. And then the energy to make it successful, right? And I mean, I think it's a gold mine out there. And then you just need to go and find the right place and start picking it up.
I like to put an example which is more related to the some of us. We all work in an organization. So PwC as an organization, just before COVID, we saw the digital theme coming, and we said that every employee of PwC should know 3 themes. One is obviously something which is fantastic in representation. We choose Power BI as a tool. We said everyone should definitely use AI-based automation. So we use, if you heard about product called as UiPath, and Alteryx, which is AI-based. It's like a Excel on steroid. So we gave that as a mechanism to our every employee. Just imagine a chartered accountant was using Excel, was doing audit based on sampling. I'm not sure if you ever interacted with chartered accountant, but the quarter end, the year end are the nightmare, with the sampling. And today we are talking about continuous auditing, which means not sampling. Every transaction, let's say of Hinduja group, need to be audited by the auditor. We were your auditor few years back. That was not possible without the AI tools into picture. So this is a live example where we transform our chartered accountants with help of AI. So today, obviously, they do the same work, but the technology is helping them to do that work much faster, much accurate, and obviously there is a competitive edge because just imagine the chartered accountant with AI tag associated with it. I feel proud to be a CA with AI tag associated with me. That's one example where I guess everyone is moving towards. I guess there is a fear of AI, in every mind. So we always say that you just have to look at AI in two perspective. If you look at AI and expand AI, it's amazingly incredible, but it is always incomplete. Anyone knows that when AI word was coined? Any wild guess? 56. Almost 70 years back, this word was coined, and in 2025 we are really using it. So it will take time, but if you don't play with it, a chartered accountant without AI may not get a better job, but someone with AI will get a definitely good opportunity. That's one example where PwC has done it. I'll talk about second example, very large, maybe the largest beverage company in the globe. And we were asked to come and do the digital transformation. But idea was very simple. I talked about three values. Obviously, the core principle was how can I really save a cost, bring a experience, and indirectly, directly, upscale the revenue. So when we analyze, just take one example of that organization. There were around 900 people within that organization serving globally, and just doing a reporting as a work, which means let's say that company's Mexico division asking a back office that tell me the sales revenue report for XYZ segment, and then the back office guy will create that in runtime, and that way there were 900 people doing this 24 into 7, typical a BPO, KPO type of work. So we just reimagine that. Someone asked agentic as a question, correct? So we went live and deployed a new theme called as agentic automation. So we heard about agentic AI. Just imagine today ChatGPT, you go and ask question, it gives you answer. Just that answer doesn't stop there. If you ask ChatGPT, okay, by the way, go and perform this action, then it becomes a agentic automation. We coined that for that beverage company. Today, obviously, that 900 count reduced to 200, and those 700 people are deployed to do something more meaningful job. But they have a agent where you can go and ask a report. It not only runtime prepare that report, which means it will do the action in the background, give me the report, but I can go and ask the question within the report. That's the experience part of it. So indirectly, if I correlate to the original term, I saved 700 people equivalent value for that organization. I start giving the answers up and there. So obviously that enhances the efficiency of the sales or account driver, and that helps them to upscale the revenue. And because ChatGPT was launched in 23-24, they were using that type of feature in 21-22. So that builds experience onto the table. So these two example, one more a consulting friendly, second is a industry example. I'm sure you will have more.
Sure, thanks. So my first example, I'll probably go back in history a little bit towards global financial crisis, because that's when my journey on digital transformation started. So I was working. I was working for a Indian IT firm, consulting a manufacturing firm in US. And the problem that they came across during global financial crisis was, as you know, they were in the automotive sector. So most of the automotive companies were, near bankruptcy. So they had clients who were also their vendors. And during global financial crisis, on one side, they had the clients who were not able to pay the invoices. On the other side, this company, in all honesty, was going on paying the invoices that their vendors were generating. Now remember, both the client and the vendor is the same parent entity, right? They may be different companies, but they roll up into the same parent entity. So they thought that, if this guy is not paying me for the work that I have done for him, why am I going to pay him for the work that he has done for me, right? And they had absolutely no way of matching this data, reconciling and figuring out what is the net outstanding amount. So that's when they had 4 very large business units. To get all the data together to build this was a mammoth task. So we talk a lot about analytics, data visualization, but in order to build analytics and data visualization that is going to really solve a business problem, there's a lot of dirty work underneath that you have to do in order to rationalize, clean, and bring your data in one place. So that was my, the start of my journey on digital transformation. Very close to my heart. It was driven by the CFO of that company. Something that we did very recently. We have this health insurance client in US, and they would want to move all their data workload from on-prem into cloud for obvious reasons. CapEx to OpEx and all the cloud reasons were all there. So they were doing this project for almost about 6 months, spent about $1 million, and none of the workloads did migrate into the cloud, again for various reasons. Migrating business applications to cloud is one story. Migrating data workloads into cloud is a very different story. The way you migrate it, the way you test it is very different. There was a very clean business case for the IT or the CIO to do this project. But the CFO found absolutely no value doing this project because he was getting the same set of dashboards, same set of report. It was just coming out of cloud, right? So he got frustrated that, okay, after 6 months, I spent $1 million. I'm not seeing anything out of the cloud, right? Why am I going to fund this project anymore? So that's another area where we came in, and the primary thing that we bought in was, automation, robotic process automation with respect to how do you stage, how do you, using machine learning, how can you figure out the dependency between different assets that you're going to move into the cloud. So that was one interesting. And very recently, which is something that I'm currently working on, is so this is a product partner that we have. They have a leading insurance product in North America. We are their SI partners, and one of the problems that they face is they have a lot of government clients, government public sector clients, and usually, whether it's US or whether it's India, public sector clients are, they always want a lot, but they don't have a lot of money. So these people, whenever they go into contracting, their contracts are generally very, very steep contracts. They don't have a lot of time to go ahead and implement their products. So we were looking into the entire SDLC life cycle to figure out where can I squeeze the timeline, where can I increase my time to market. And this is one where we use generative AI to reduce the testing cycle within the project by almost 50 to 40%, depending on the complexity and type. So this is something that we are currently working on.
Very nice, very nice. So you see in all the examples, right, there are some common themes that you can see, right? So the first is the automation opportunity, right? What gets work done in 1 month, can you do it in 1 hour? And, business process automation, agentic based automation and all of that, so that you're not doing anything different, you're just doing it faster. The same thing, right? So that's one big opportunity. Many companies are struggling with automation itself because they are comfortable with the processes they have created, manual processes they have created, and transforming them into a digital or automated process is a journey for some people, right? Second is intelligence, right? How do you bring not only automation but also intelligence? Can you do it better than before? Right? Can you optimize it even further? Can you increase the accuracy of the models over a period of time, right? So that's the second big opportunity. And third big opportunity, which I think will come in the future, is integration is the third big opportunity. So, how do you not have people doing things in the middle and integrate all the workflows together, right? So automation, intelligence, and integration are the three big opportunities in any organization. And one of the skills we have to learn, and we have learned over time, is to talk to business people, understand their pain points, find the right opportunity, assign a value to that opportunity, assign a cost to that opportunity, therefore prioritize the right opportunities, low-hanging fruits first, R&D later, and keep showing value to the business, right? And that's how this relationship, this trust between this new technology, AI and all of that, and the business will build over time, because you are going to show value, incremental value over time and exponential value over a long term. Yeah, so that is our big challenge. So with that, I wanted to talk about some of the challenges, right? Because it's not that it is obvious to everybody that we should do it, right? There are challenges, there are all kinds of challenges. So I've been, in Reliance, in Ola, I've seen even in Google, right? There are challenges in every company. In how do you do AI transformation? What are some of the things that, we have to work with people, we have to work with processes, with existing systems, with legacy, with all kinds of challenges are there. So maybe if you guys can share, maybe we can start from you this time. And if you can talk about some of the challenges you see in your partners, right? Pull versus push challenges, right? Sometimes you have to try to convince them, but they don't want to adopt something they want to say, but they have a wrong expectation. So if you can just talk about some of these challenges so our students are aware what they're getting into.
So I think one of the biggest challenge that we have seen is we find out a solution and then try to find out what problem this solution can solve.
Hammer first approach. Yeah.
Because we are all engineers, right? We are technology people, so we are very good at solutions, but we are not that good at problems. And I think generative AI is going to change that hugely, because right now knowing a solution has no value at all. The whole value is, are you asking the right question?
Correct.
Right? So that's one thing that we have seen. We drive an innovation program within our company, and more often than not, we see our members come up with brilliant technology solutions, but they have very little idea about what business problem can it solve. So this relationship between technology and business is going to be ever important, right? I mean, and okay, so that's one. The other one that I want to talk about is there are obviously technology challenges, but I think technology challenges are easier to manage. Technology generally, at least up until now, was mostly deterministic, had a syntax, it would behave in a predictive manner. The tougher challenge that I have seen, especially with large transformation programs, is alignment of objectives and interests of various stakeholders. And it can happen on the consulting company side, to be very honest. It can happen on the client side. It can happen between the client and the partner also. So that is one. The other thing that I had in my mind was many a times there is a real problem. There is a brilliant solution. But figuring out exactly who you pitch your solution to, how you pitch it, can be the difference between success and failure. Many a times we if the perfect solution to the right problem is being pitched to a wrong stakeholder, doesn't work out. So figuring out the stakeholder matrix, what is important to whom, is I think of paramount importance.
Wow, that is a very deep insight.
If I really talk about two, I mean, there are many challenges to be very honest, but if I really talk about top two which come to my mind is one, your base, whenever you start anything, your base has to be clean. Okay, a garbage in will be garbage out. So lots of companies who started AI automation, they started with fragmented data. Data is a very important oil to the AI. I mean, we say it's a new electricity. So if your data is wrong, you are going to get wrong output. So how can you make sure that whenever you start any digital transformation or AI program, get your data or get your base clean, or at least align as per your strategies. That is one. Second angle which we are guiding lots of our customers is governance or ethics. That is a typically afterthought. If you look at previous tech transformation, when ERP came, when cloud came, the governance came after the failures. Some bank failed because of the issue in their transactions, so the cyber security thought through. It was never a first thought. So can we learn from that, and when we are really going into a Gen AI or agentic approach, can we really define those ethical, value. There is term called as responsible AI. If I'm not sure if that is a subject in the curriculum, but responsible AI is a very important topic to be discussed, because Gen AI is nothing but a algorithm which is going to give you the answer. If you give a wrong data to algorithm, it start producing a wrong, which is ethically wrong, technically right answer, but ethically wrong answer. So responsible AI will be one of the challenge down the line. So, putting those guardrails up in the game, start of the, program is one of the, I'll say challenge to convince the customer that governance is important. Typically people say, please start with the MVP, POC, we'll see about governance later, but we always feel that as a challenge to convince.
Very nice. Yeah.
I think my co-panelists covered it all. Maybe I'll try to summarize it. I actually have a LinkedIn article on this topic. Yeah, I call it the 3 C's, which we need to bring together. The first C is what I call as congruence. You need organization will, sponsorship, alignment, a combination of things to come together so that there is congruence in the thinking of the organization that we are sure we want to do this, right? Any form of effort trying to somehow mushroom it in one corner, which does not have the sponsorship, etc., will die its sweet death in a matter of time, no matter how beautiful the idea is. So there has to be congruence from the type. Rather, one important aspect when congruence comes in and it sort of flows all the way down, I have seen best ideas come in when you create agile teams which are a combination of cross-functional teams. So the data scientist, the real scientist, the manufacturing person, right? Only when a bunch of people sit together and you truly enable them with a sort of good amount of knowledge, understanding of what is the art of possible, that is when the best use cases come, right? So the congruence has to begin from top all the way have to go down, right? So that is number one. Number two is capability, right? Now capability has 2 dimensions. One, I think my colleagues mentioned the data. I think you do garbage in, garbage out. There is enough and more one needs to do to make sure your data is good, the data is clean, and it's sort of many a times assumed, and a lot of efforts fall flat because once you are in the middle of the project, you realize the quality of data you have, and then you sort of have to go back, start a new project to fix all the way back to master data, right? Not even what we're talking about data which you can use from the perspective of models. And the second piece is talent, right? There is to be capability. Talent is equally important. I mean, you might promise the moon and it will again fall flat if you don't have the right people who know how to solve those problems, right? We might say some of this technology has become easier. I have seen people struggling with algorithms, right, which are not giving the answers, looks logical, should come true, must happen, but not happening, right? So you need talent. And the third and probably the most important is the culture, right? Culture of an organization will determine, no matter what wonderful product, solution, algorithm you create, whether it will bring success to the company or not, right? There will always be enough and people sitting in corners ready to kill it, ready to make sure it does not see the light of the day, why it does not work, why it does not make sense, why my customers will not like it, why it is bad for something else. So there has to be that cultural mindset of the organization to adopt the new, to be ready to change to the new, ready to learn, ready to unlearn the past, and then move forward with it. So these are the 3 C's. One needs to drive congruence, one needs to drive capability, one needs to drive culture. And then it sort of, the challenges in some form gets addressed.
Beautiful. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. So the 3 C's, very nice. And obviously culture comes from people. So internal culture, and then how do we bring that? And, there is a natural inertia to change in all of us. It's the first law of motion is law of inertia only, right? And it works at both individual level and corporate level. Individually, we don't want to change, and corporate also doesn't want to change. So managing this change is also a very interesting challenge, which means managing your data culture, your people culture, your platform culture, your mindset and all of that. So it's not just data science. You are doing many, many things together, convincing the people above you, below you together, right? Building a new platform. And sometimes your old legacy systems are built on some old technology, and you are now trying to build Gen AI on top of PHP or something. And then there is a clash of platforms also, right? So there is no blueprint right now. You want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because I like the way that you presented it.
Yes.
And since this is a young group of
Yes.
engineers and management graduates, I wanted to say that many a times I have seen brilliant young engineers very frustrated because they have a fantastic solution, but somebody is not adopting, is nobody is listening to it. So I think there is one very important question that as technology people, as engineers, we should always ask is who is this solution impacting and what is in it for that person to support me. If I don't get a good answer to this question, then something is wrong. So unless I get a good answer to the question, what is in it for the person that my solution is impacting, my solution, no matter how brilliant it is going to fail.
Very true, very true. So this is the art of communication also. When I joined Jio, I used to present my solution as how will I solve the problem? And the bosses don't care. Then I started changing my slide and I said, what will it do for you? Then they will say, oh, it will give me this much. Now tell me how will you solve it. So I think the way we communicate, who we communicate to, what aspect of the thing we communicate, right? All that matters, and we learned this on the way, and hopefully you're getting a lot of insight. So two more things we want to talk about. Hopefully we have enough time. Yeah. So one is this whole Gen AI revolution that has happened, right? And every now and then there's a new thing. There's a big competition going on between the 3-4 companies. It's amazing. Just keeping up with it is a PhD in itself, right? Reading all these papers. I have given up and all that. So how are you keeping up with this, number one? And again, the hammer and nail problem. Is it becoming a FOMO? Is it becoming a bigger hammer is getting launched every now and then, and your bosses are telling you, find a use case, we should also do Gen AI? Or is it a natural fit to certain problems and not a natural fit to certain problems? It's not a universal solution to everything. How do we deal with all this Gen AI, I don't know, hype, if you will use the word, and what do you see the future of this? Where is it going? Yeah.
So I think this is very true because many people think that we had classical AI and now we have Gen AI. So all the problems now need to be solved using Gen AI because classical AI is old, right? And I think that is obviously not the right way to think about it, and we need to make sure that we figure out proper applications. I'm going to tell you my experience. So I do a lot of automation for my own personal stuff that I do, and I generally do it using Excel and Python. So very recently, I wanted to do a Excel automation that would be quite complicated using Python, and although VB is a very old language, but still when it comes to Excel macros, it's a fantastic thing. I have never ever been taught VB. I do not know anything about VB. It took me about half an hour to create this VB macro without enabling the Excel recording, just coding. It took me about half an hour. All I needed was ask a few questions to Microsoft Copilot, and I was able to do it. So this experience basically was very, very exciting for me, and that led me to believe that if I can do something which I was never taught, then if everybody in this world can do whatever they need irrespective of what they were taught during their education system, that can be something, that can be a miracle.
Yeah.
Right. So with this thought, I started this Gen AI initiatives in our team, and it's going pretty well right now. To developers, and this is something people who are mad about programming, who are very passionate about development, they may not like what I'm going to say. What we have seen is very junior developers, comparatively less skilled, compared to very senior developers. I'm not talking about architects, okay? I'm only talking about developers here. Senior developers who are highly skilled and can write brilliant programs very soon. The gap between these two levels has come down significantly because of generative AI.
Yeah.
Today, if I give a senior developer, if he can complete a task in a day, and a very junior developer is able to complete that task in 5 days. If I give Copilot to both of them will probably complete it in half a day. So that's a profound change that is coming in, and that will, hit our industry like a big truck. So yeah, we are all gearing up for it.
Very nice.
I guess if I really look at from a business perspective, is this hype or is this real? I will say it's still in between. It is going towards a positive side of it. We have to look at in that way. And again, I mean, if you look at any tech evolution and any evolution, it will go to the peak and then it will settle down. It is going to the peak as we speak. Obviously, the LLMs and Gen AI is not new. Obviously, it got famous in 2023, 24, but from 2018-19, people were using LLM, SLMs, of those words. So that is real, first of all. But only thing is what opportunities it bring onto the table for someone like us who is a consultant is opportunities which we parked without a Gen AI. Opportunities which we are struggling. I'll give a simple example. Just look at every one of us interact with some or other chatbot of one of the bank. Before GenAI came into picture, they were all programmed on a fixed questions. Press 1, press 2, press 3. I will always press 9 because I want to talk to the human, correct? I mean, because I am frustrated with that experience. GenAI is going to bring that, a real natural language experience, into the real world. And that's definitely going to happen. Lots of banks like SDFC is one of them where if you talk to EVA talk to you like a human. It understands. You ask a humorous question, EVA will respond with a humor. That was not happening before GenAI. So I guess use of GenAI in the right way is definitely change the way it is going towards. And obviously Copilot today morning, if you heard the news about AgriPilot, it's a agriculture co-pilot launched by someone used in Baramati, and they are getting fantastic results. Where Satya Nadella is posting about Indian AgriPilot, which is the way it is. So I guess the future is there. It's just that how to use it in right way, that is up to us.
Correct.
So I agree with everything said. Little just to sort of add a little bit more perspective. I think I look at Gen AI as sort of one more addition to the AI spectrum. I think we began with regular ML, bunch of other things came, and now we sort of adding LLM and Gen AI to it. But the big difference is, I think the world of AI till now was, end of the day, a world of data scientists. Right? So they understand the algorithm. If they decide, they will explain the algorithm to you. Otherwise, there is an input, there is an output. The big shift Gen AI did is it brought it to everybody. I think now AI is part of everybody's life. Copilot is a very good example. I see more of it coming in. I see more of it coming in. I have a very high FOMO of Gen AI, to tell you the truth, and I'm not able to keep up to speed no matter what I do. I personally tend to believe, and I don't know, future will tell whether I'm correct or not, is it's almost like a smartphone moment of the data world. When smartphones came, I mean, there were basic needs it was fulfilling. You get online email, bunch of other stuff. But nobody thought that there will be this big app ecosystem which will come along with it. This will enable new business models like Uber and Flipkart and bunch of other things, which came because smartphones came, right? It sort of completely changed the way we do business. My sense is some of that is yet to come. All of that will evolve as we sort of see this whole big shift coming together. And with the amount of money flowing in, to bring this shift, I think time will tell, but I think my sense is we are sort of looking at something big, coming our way. Again, when something big comes, there are people who will act faster and they will eat the cake. And there were people who sort of caught sleeping will sort of go down the drain. So some of that also we will see. And that's the reason I have a very high FOMO, on this whole piece, so that my organizations don't get caught sleeping. And, it is in some form my responsibility to make sure that we are thinking ahead all the time as to, what is the change it will bring.
One of the interesting example quoted by one of the analysts, he anticipates that 10 years, 15 years down the line, I'm sure you all know SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, or different CRM, ERP system. They will never sell a software. They will sell a skill. If you need a purchase order, creation skill, take a skill from us. That skill might be operated by GenAI. So no longer the softwares will be sell. Maybe the skill will be sell. So that's exactly GenAI is going to, take us there.
Yeah, yeah. Very nice. So, I think we have a big hammer now. The hammer itself is evolving, right? Earlier it could do only so much. Now they're claiming it can do reasoning also, it can do agentic also. The hammer is evolving, the use cases are evolving, and I think matchmaking is the core skill now, finding the right use case and all that. There are obviously going to be problems like hallucination and all, which will get resolved, and that is the belief we should have in adopting a technology. So I'll give you one insight. The difference between OpenAI versus Google and Meta. They are all building Gen AI models, right? Microsoft is also building their own Gen AI models, right? What is the core difference? So OpenAI is a primarily LLM/Gen AI capability company. It never had a product. It only has one product, ChatGPT, and through that or whatever else, and they are building a product after building a capability. This is what search engine Google was in the beginning, right? They didn't have a product. They said search is an important need. Now with OpenAI, LLM is an important need, and they filled the need, and then Google built many products after that, right? Search, image search, video search, YouTube, Gmail, after that. OpenAI is where Google was 20 years ago with a new capability. And you have to understand the mindset, right? There are two types of CEOs in the world, right? One is who are very passionate about the capability itself. Sam Altman is very passionate about continuing to improve the level at which LLM can work. And he kind of almost, if you look at him, he doesn't give a damn about the use cases and the products that will come out of it or the revenue that he will generate. But he's so focused on AGI, how do I get to next level, O2, O3, O4. And he's a very capability focused person, right? But what is happening at Google, Gemini, Google and other places is they're already a 20-year-old product company, right? Somebody has a social network, somebody has an office suite, somebody has a ecosystem of Gmail and all that. And these companies have a different advantage, which is they can embed Gemini into their Gmail, into their YouTube, into their search, because they have working products and they have a head start in that sense, right? And you should see and understand this dynamic between capability versus product. Does a product define a need for a new capability, so we should build one? Or sometimes a capability is there and we should find great product innovation coming out of that. This is a very important dynamic that happens between these two. And we are all caught in between these two giants, if you will, right? And we are saying, what are my use cases given this capability, right? And obviously, remember we talked about this idea of it depends. Remember that phrase we talked about, right? So what is your favorite technology? If you can say Gen AI all the time now, again it depends, right? Gen AI can do a lot of first order things, right? So for example, we know what is the first order ignorance, right? Which is I don't know, I know what I don't know. So therefore you know what you don't know means you know what the prompt to do. I know the prompt that I need to do to say, hey, write a better code for this, summarize this better, what is the news relevant to me, how do you fix a problem in a car. So I know what I don't know is the first order of ignorance, which search engine was able to solve and now Gen AI is able to solve across domains, right? The second order of ignorance, which is I don't know what I don't know, is where the real magic will happen. So for me, the next evolution of Gen AI is when Gen AI tells you what you don't know. You're doing the wrong prompt. For example, they're asking the wrong question, right? And it has started to come in the agentic also, and especially in drug discovery. For example, if somebody is asking a bunch of questions about a drug, and Gen AI figures out that this is what he should really be asking. That would be the ultimate evolution of AI. It's beyond Turing test now, right? It's not just answering your questions, it is telling you what questions to ask, right? And that is when the next magic in AI will happen, in Gen AI will happen, I hope, yeah? Then we'll become even more irrelevant, who knows? Yeah. All right. So last thing, we are an education institute. We want to be very relevant to the industry at all times. We don't have a lot of legacy that, 10-year, 50-year legacy. So we want to be very agile and, make sure we are teaching the right skills and all that. And they are learning the right skill, both the hard skills and the soft skills. So if you can just share some of the skills you are looking for in your next generation of hires, if you will, right? What are those skills? What should we teach them? What skills they should develop so that they are more future ready for, this evolving field of AI, right? When we grew up, we had a different set of skills to learn, right? Knowing how to write K-means clustering in MATLAB was our skill set, but now the skill set is completely different, right? So if you can share some of your thoughts on the skills that we need to develop, yeah?
So I think, one of the things that we today look at when we hire is industry knowledge. Because end of the day, we are a technology company, but end of the day, we solve problems in the industry. So are you able to understand a specific industry, the problems of that industry, the trends that are there in that industry? Only then we will be able to provide good solutions, right? So that is one thing that we look for. The second thing that we look for is learning agility. Because I think now it is very clear to us whatever we are learning today will probably not be helpful 3, 4, 5 years down the line. So how quickly can you learn something? So let's say, for example, when we interview, right, we are looking at okay, if I give you something which you are completely unfamiliar with, I give you a couple of hints, are you able to match these two and come up with a innovative solution, right? And the third thing is, in our industry, it is all about, let us increase the revenue, let us reduce the cost and everything. So it's almost like a rat race that we are following. It's also important to be empathetic and think twice about the solution that I am implementing and how it is going to impact humanity, right? So I believe that's a much softer aspect, that we look at. At CGI, we have something called profitable growth equilibrium. So in which we say that we have 4 stakeholders. One is obviously our client, because without them we don't have revenue. Second is our partners. And by the way, with all due respect, in CGI, everybody is a partner. Our partners is the second stakeholder. Third stakeholder is our shareholders. Are we generating value for them? And the fourth stakeholder is the community that we live in. And whenever we take a decision, and there's a story of our founder. Somebody, I'll tell you in very brief.
Yeah.
Somebody gave a proposal to him. Okay, so he listened to it very carefully and said, "Okay, all right. Can you tell me again?" Okay, so he said again. Okay, he again, thought about it and said, "Okay, can you tell me one more time if you don't mind?" Okay, now this guy is, first he is getting, a little bit irritated. Why is he asking me to tell it, repeat it twice? And then Search did that for 4 times. So anyway, I mean, that episode is done. Later on during dinner, he gathered the courage to go up to Sarge and said, "Sarge, was I not clear? Can you give me some feedback? What happened?" So Sarge said that, "Okay, first time you gave me the proposal, I was thinking in the shoes of the client. How is this going to impact the client? And I cannot be in 4 shoes at one time." So that's something that we follow in our company. Any decision that we take, we make sure that there is a balanced equilibrium across all these stakeholders. So we talked about culture, and culture is something which is very difficult to change or create, right? So whenever we are hiring, we always make sure that the person who is coming in with that balanced growth mindset and not tilted in one.
Very nice.
I guess if I really look at the type of skills we look at in the candidate is obviously the problem solving or the solutioning. We feel that tech is the easiest part to teach, and we know how to do that. We have done that in past. So tech is a secondary, but if you don't know how to solve a problem, then it's a critical to consider. Second thing is how fast you are in adopting the change. So today we are only talking about 2, 3, maybe 10 LLMs. How fast you can start researching that there will be a 20 LLMs or 25 LLMs down the line. There will be aggregator for LLM. So if you are not up to the mark, to the pace with which industry is moving, you will be losing the race. So that is those are the 2, 3 angles with which we look at. Obviously, being a consulting firm from us, communication plays important roles. So how confidently you can present your thought in front of customer, that is also an important skill. And I'm sure the GenAIs of LLMs are going to help us to do that better.
So these are the skills of the future, and these are the meta skills. Whether AI will be what it is today or 5 years from now, these skills are very horizontal skills. They will remain the same. And I think staying curious, keep learning and I keep balancing between learning new things and being creative, because to create new things, I don't want to read what others have written. I want to think more. And sometimes we have to read more, sometimes we have to think more, and we have to balance all of that. And, coming up with higher, connect more between what they have done and what we are thinking, right? So, very nice. So, hopefully, let's open the stage for some questions. Hopefully, if you guys have some good questions, and Palakji is also here, so thanks. So, let's open if you guys have any questions for our panels. Yes, please, dear.
See, there is a hype cycle, which we all know about, Gartner hype cycle. And I've seen companies completely failing because of the fear of this hype cycle. So they fail in the old technology, they try and absorb the new technology, they've not gone through on third technology comes up, constant failures happen in that journey. And I've seen companies which are very smart. I worked in Asian Paints. We were very smart in the sense the whole world was moving around technology, one type of technology. We skipped that generation, completely skipped that until we were ready to use it. And then we leapfrog way above others. And this has consistently happened. Do you think this will happen in the current range? Current hype, so-called. Sorry for using that.
Absolutely, and I think I sort of fully and sort of completely agree with you, right? So there's no point sort of moving from one to another, number one, unless your foundation is in place. Foundation is a combination of your processes, your people, and your basic systems, right? I mean, if your ERP is not in place, if your processes are not automated, if your basic, in case of Asian Paints, if your supply chain is not sorted, what will you do with AI, on top of that? So absolutely, that is the base. I also fully agree with you on the thought of how at times you can actually leapfrog, right? So there will always be these certain early movers, in an industry. It has its pros and cons. Now, depending on your situation in the industry, combination of investment, current readiness, your foundations in place, many factors, right? Depending on your situation in the industry, you have to make a position for yourself. For this specific use case or for this specific business case, do I want to be early mover? Do I want to be a fast follower? Or I will wait and watch, right? All three are equally important. In some form, I sort of began the conversation by saying every organization needs to define its set of capabilities important for us. Certain capabilities are very, very important. Certain I'm good to be okay on, and certain I'm let others be better at, right? I mean, Asian Paint supply chain is up here, right? R&D, I mean, a pharmaceutical company, R&D is up here, right? And depending on this capability, sort of map, right? I then decide, here I want to be the winning guy. I want to be the early mover. Here I will be a fast follower. Here I will wait and watch, right? Depending on what others are doing. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, there is one shift in the industry. There is a concept called as fail fast. That was not there 10 years. I mean, if you think SAP, I will implement, after 3 years, I will see benefit. The cycle of success is 3 year long. Just imagine LLM, you can check LLM within 15 days. So fail fast is a new concept where lots of companies are adopting. Lots of companies are asking us to develop something where can I move from OpenAI to Gemini? Can I move from one LLM to another without changing anything? So the aggregator rule, lots of companies will start playing orchestrator role down the line, and that will add very important factor in the success in GenAI journey.
Yes, sir.
I have one question regarding this whole aspect of future skills that we have talked about. So I take that first. Because from my perspective and looking at it from a student perspective, I think that is important. I think you listed out what I believe are absolutely fantastic points in terms of the skills. Industry knowledge, learning ability, learning agility, empathy, culture fit, problem solving, speed, and so on and so forth, communication. My question to you is very simple. From an industry perspective, when you are recruiting fresh students, what process do you apply? And what is the matrix that you apply to measure each one of these, if at all?
So, I mean, to tell you the truth, because it's an AI panel, has anything changed after AI? No. Yeah, our process of selection sort of has remained the same as it was probably 2 years, 3 years, 5 years back. Probably the only additional dimension we have started applying, which I mentioned before, is one's ability to pick up and learn. The learning agility as a dimension, and we sort of try to understand that by asking sort of a set of questions linked with that. And second and most important for me personally is application. Where have you applied it? In your whatever, summer internship, some project you did, whatever is the case, where have you actually shown a proof of application of whatever you are learning, either in the course or otherwise, right? And I think that sort of becomes the most important thing. And we look at, because that in turn determines how an individual performs, right? And of course, his readiness to come and learn is equally important. So,
Is there you want to answer?
Yeah. So what's happening out there in the industry, that is also very important. So whenever we interview a candidate, if he doesn't know what is happening, we don't expect him to tell us how to do it. But if he doesn't know what are the favorite LLMs, I'm just sticking to the AI of the world. So if he doesn't know what is happening in the industry, who is doing what, then that may be a red flag for us.
So what I sense is that it is primarily the interview process that you rely heavily on at the time of selection. Is there a possibility of some testing methodologies? Because there are two kinds of tests that one can do. One is in terms of knowledge and stuff like that, and the other is tests like psychometric tests, etc., which can gauge the propensity of a person to get into a particular type of job, a particular kind of industry. Is this happening? Is it possible to happen?
Absolutely, very much happening. Not in my current organization. In my previous organization, we were running a pilot where we requested candidates to start submitting videos, right? And we sort of give them a case or a question. They have to just respond to that over a video. And then this video gets fed to an AI model. And it gives us a bunch of parameters around psychometry, how this person thinks, confidence, bunch of things, right? And then it sort of becomes one more input. But the final decision today, and probably I don't know till how far, is still the interview process. All of this we use for the purpose of filtering. We do tests as well. All of this we use for the purpose of filtering, but the final decision happens through the interview process.
For a non-campus lateral hiring in PwC, we do have a product. So before I interview a person, that product ranked the CV based on the whatever is written in the CV and the parameters. So we do have tech, but as Mukesh said, obviously the decision is with panelists. Tech is just enabling me to take that decision in better way.
Thank you.
There are a couple of things I wanted to add is, like you said, generally the process to hire from campus and the process to hire laterally are different. And the type of test that you are talking about, we do apply that when we are hiring from the campus, not necessarily when we are hiring laterally. When we are hiring laterally, we depend a lot on interviews, we depend a lot on referrals. CGI has a very strong referral program, and if somebody is coming through a CGI referral, then obviously that gives us an opportunity not to limit our examination to the 30 minutes or 1 hour of interview, but get a sneak peek into that person's history in terms of the professional history, whatever he or she has done. So that's one thing. You know, one example that I can quote is a few years back I was hiring a manager for me, and I kind of felt that the traditional way of interviewing is probably not going to help. So for my first level filtering, what I asked everybody to do on LinkedIn was to tell me about themselves and why I should hire them through a video. And this is not new, many organizations do that. But the reason why I did that was because I wanted to make sure that I am hiring somebody who can become a person who can connect with the team that I have. And to look a resume is not going to add value to me, because the resume, I do not know whether that person has written the resume or whether he has taken resume creation services and written the resume, right? So that doesn't add value to me. But when the person is able to create a video on himself and why I should hire, then I'm getting first-hand knowledge of how that person is thinking, whether that person is going to fit my culture or not. So that's just one example. But yeah, we do keep experimenting. But I would agree with both of them. Still now, I think bulk of it is interviews.
We do have very interesting proposition with lots of colleges. It's called as intern to FT. So we hire someone as an intern for 6 months, and I mean there is a batch of 100 people who join us as an intern, and then after 6 months, based on the performance, they become FT. So obviously that interview for internship will happen in the same way, but we practically evaluate a candidate in that 6 months on real projects. I'm not talking about internship on college projects. This is happening as we speak.
Very nice. Yeah. So, just to add, as if I was also a panelist, I want to add, I want to be a panelist. Yeah. So, I think one of the skills that is very not easy to gauge even in an interview is the attitude of the people, right? And there are 4 P's that I look at. And this is something I learned from Mr. Ambani. When I asked him, what are you looking for in a leader? He told me the 4 P's, right? And I think they are valid for all levels across industries. So first is the sense of purpose. Why are you doing what you are doing? Why do you need a job here? Right? Are you here for leap in salary, change in role, or are you here to make a difference, right? Why do you want this job? The sense of purpose is very important. Second is, can I see passion in you, right? The way you talk about your projects, right? How passionately you have worked on it. And passion leads to more knowledge, more learning, more curiosity. Look at the passion with which the Prime Minister is running the country, right? He didn't know all this technology and now he's talking about all that, right? So passion leads to all this automatically is the second P. The third P is the sense of perseverance. So one of my favorite questions is, tell me where you have failed, what you have learned from it, and did you give up or did you pursue, and what happened after? Talk about your best failure. We all talk about the best success in our resumes, but the failures teach us a lot. And, we look for people who have perseverance, right? Failure is part of the job. And the more ambiguous, our job is very ambiguous, right? Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. So how do you deal with failure is very important. And fourth is the sense of preparation, right? Do you come to every class prepared? Do you come to every interview prepared? Do you come to every day at work prepared? Do you come to every meeting prepared? Right? The sense of preparedness that you should have. And that's what this FOMO is all about, preparedness, right? Am I ahead in what is coming in the world also, right? So these 4 P's are very important. Yeah, a sense of purpose, sense of passion, sense of perseverance, and a sense of preparedness. And if I see all that, that is a great candidate for me, at least for hiring. And that is the attitude part of hiring, right? Skills we can all learn, unlearn, it's a matter of time. And nobody cares about skills. The hard skills are important, but they're only 10% important. All these attitude is very, very important these days. Yeah. So, their interview season is coming up, so I thought I'll add something here.
Can I ask one
Yes, sir,
question
please. Yeah,
related to this?
Yes, yes.
I think it's very interesting to see that the point that was mentioned in terms of one of the models that is being used by companies is to hire a person test them for 6 months or so, and then recruit them if they're found fit. Now, as Sir says, we have gone through a process of internships and so on, and many of our students do well. And I think one of the things that happens at internships is if the company finds that intern good, then you offer a PPO. And I think that's a good way to go about it, because there the company knows the student knows the company, and therefore the fit can be established to some extent. But having said that, a lot of good students get rejected because of certain company policies and procedures, that they recruit at a certain period of time, that they recruit from certain kinds of institutes which have a certain reputation, and so on and so forth. So, do you have any ideas in the case of a good institute like Jio, which has yet to establish its brand equity, how this particular barrier can be overcome by students who are good and comparable to, say, the other good institutes, but find this as something that they have to surmount? Any ideas on that?
Maybe I can. So typically what we have seen, and we have done this with the new colleges in past as well, but again, do not depend on the interview process. So we do conduct the hackathon based selection as well. Obviously this is not a tech institute, but for a tech institute which is new into the overall universities, we have done that using hackathon, where we can actually practically gauge the student. Second, obviously the brand, the curriculum, the way the overall program is defined, that is also getting scrutinized before selecting every college. So we keep on adding additional colleges every year. It's not that PwC's set of colleges is always fixed. So while adding that college, we look at all those aspects. We also move out of the colleges as well, based on the experience, based on the past historical data of the people who joined us and performed. So it's not a fixed rule. For college like you, obviously, if you start delivering the quality deliverable, which means the quality students, I guess there is no hurdle for anyone like us, to look at even if it is a fresh institute. So I guess everyone is talent hungry, to be very straight. I mean, we all are looking for a good talent. Obviously, the college, the representation from which they are representing is important, but at the end of the day, what we gauge is the talent on the board, the person whom we will interact. So I guess if you focus more on delivering right, a candidate into the industry, I guess that will definitely, it's a egg and chicken situation.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Just to sort of add, I think what I've seen is I've seen sort of two types of colleges. There are colleges who do a 2-month internship, and there are colleges who do a 6-month internship. And in the past, I used to hire data scientists from a not very famous college. I'll not take the name, but they used to do a 6-month internship as part of the program. And I think that worked in their favor, because when I left that organization, half of my data scientists were just from that one college. So that could be something for...
This intern to FT program, what I talked about, is exactly 6-month internships followed by the FT.
Yeah, so that is something to think of, because in general, I have not seen very strong issues in terms of policies that if a summer intern or whatever, winter intern, whatever, if an intern has sort of come in, and if the organization is finding him good, there will be very little reason why they will not hire. Right? So I think there's a very strong and good route to sort of build those inroads until, of course, the brand equity of the college itself builds up enough. So.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. So, you want to say a few words? Yeah. So thank you all. We have Palak Seth who joined us. He's the director of the institute, if you will. We'll have over tea. Over tea, yeah. Okay.
Everyone
all right.
will be on stage.
Oh, we can be on stage. Okay. Yeah. So we wait a little bit. So I just want to thank the panelists to take their time out and share their insights. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Wasn't that an exceptional exchange of ideas? We've just witnessed an engaging discussion that unraveled the many dimensions of AI and its profound impact on business. Each panelist brought unique insights on the table. Mr. Mukesh Rathi stressed the importance of understanding the domain, value chain, and the ability to apply, which will definitely help us in our careers ahead. Mr. Mahesh Parab focused on defining clear value objectives and showcased innovations in faster auditing and agentic AI. Mr. Siddhartha Ghosh highlighted the role of people, process, and technology with successes in data migration and leveraging Gen AI to reduce testing time. Rightly mentioned, the focus should shift from merely finding solutions to asking the right questions and identifying the right stakeholders.
Today's discussion have eliminated the topic of paramount importance, the transformative potential of AI in revolutionizing industries, enhancing customer experiences, addressing ethical challenges, and reshaping the future of business in ways we could only have imagined a few years ago. On behalf of Jio Institute, I extend my deepest gratitude to our distinguished speakers and panelists. First and foremost, Dr. Shailesh Kumar, who's our pillar, our biggest cheerleader, who's always there for us. Mr. Mohit Kapoor, Group Chief Technology Officer of Mahindra. Even after his busy schedule, he was not able to come to campus, but agreed to deliver his address online. Mr. Mukesh Rathi, Global Chief Digital Officer of Hinduja Group. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your presence. Mr. Mahesh Parab, Partner PwC, and Mr. Siddhartha Ghosh, who travelled all the way from Bangalore just so that he could be present with all of us today and impart his knowledge. Thank you, sir. Your collective wisdom truly has deepened our understanding of AI's multifaceted dimensions and its critical implications for businesses and society alike. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Parab, projector of Jio Institute, for always inspiring and guiding us to host such insightful sessions so that our students can be enriched with what really is happening in the industry. Lastly, to our students for being such an enthusiastic audience. And lastly, to our organizing committee, all of us, our career services team, our academic services team, thank you once again. All of you for being a part of this conclave. Have a lovely evening.